Fire was made possible by viewers like...
Hudson, New York. You're just in time for the 6th annual Firefighters Field Day. I'm Tommy Sanders, here with my compadre here, Jerry McKinnis, and we're here where over 62 volunteer fire companies and a whole bunch of people have gathered to show their pride in what they do and to show their skills. It's truly an American event. You know, the spirit of volunteer firefighting goes back over 300 years here in the United States, and for almost that long, volunteer companies have shown up at competitions like this, or musters, to show their pride in what they do and pit their skills against one another. Jerry, we got some real tests of skill today for these guys.
Is this American event or what?
I think this is American event.
You know what these guys are going to do? Not these guys, but these guys.
All the competitors.
Yeah. They're going to be running and jumping and climbing and kicking here in a little while. Kind of sounds like an NFL minicamp.
Yeah, it does in a way.
No, really, they're pretty serious about this.
Oh, yeah.
Both the competition and they're excited about showing off their very unique skills. Hey, the heck with it. Tell them what's going on right now.
What's going on? Oh, you mean this? Well,
yeah.
Actually, you and me, McKinnis, we're getting in the Guinness Book of World Records here. This is the world's longest bucket brigade, we think. Over 1,000 people.
It better
We're gonna follow the action here, and when this is all wrapped up, we're gonna go right to all the fun of the Fireman's Field Day. What do you say?
I think it's great, Tommy. You and I down in history.
That's it. You told me. Stay with us.
They've come from all over New York State and North America. Over 65 teams of volunteer firefighters. ESPN is glad to welcome you to Great American Events. They've come to find out not necessarily who's the swiftest, the strongest, or the most agile, but to prove which company works best as a team. We'll find out who the champions will be today, and we'll have a lot of fun along the way. This is the Firefighters Field Day from Hudson, New York, a great American event.
Mark, I understand that 60, maybe even 70% of all the firemen in the country are volunteer firemen.
That's right, and they probably protect close to 90% of the United States. The major metropolitan cities, of course, have got paid companies. The rest of the country primarily is protected by volunteer people. Volunteer fire companies that are members of their community who are concerned about protecting their community. And it becomes their opportunity to provide a community service to help neighbor helping another. And it's as American spirit as we can find.
I'm finding it out right here.
And you know it dates back to Ben Franklin.
Maybe they're taken for granted.
Well, maybe they are in some areas, but I think in the rural areas of America, people know their volunteer fire departments because the community supports, and many of the men and the women in the community are either in the fire department or they're in the auxiliary. In many small towns, the firehouse really becomes like the center of the social activity in small towns. In our firehouse, people are married in our firehouse, have their wedding receptions. We've had baby showers and Christmas. It's the biggest meeting hall in the area.
Well, the center of social activity today, definitely the Fireman's Home in Hudson, New York. 65 teams of volunteer firefighters from all over converging for this one-of-a-kind event. You know, this gathering of volunteer firefighters has grown incredibly in the past 6 years since its inception, and I don't think that anyone, Jerry, had any idea how popular these competitions would be, but they are, after all, truly unique sporting events, and people just love to come and find themselves a favorite team and start rooting for them.
Yeah, and Tommy, let's just say that you wanted your team to become the volunteer fireman champs here today. Well, you'd have to take them through 4 courses: the dry hose course, the modified dry hose, the ladder climb, and the dressing event that our boys from East Meadow are right in the middle of right now. Now, obviously, each one will take some explanation. That's where event director Mark French is really going to help us get the ground rules laid out here. Okay, Mark, this is called the dressing event, and we got to get down to our bare feet for this guy.
And at the go, 5 team members are going to proceed up to our gear, turnout gear, because when the alarm sounds, we turn out to fight the fire.
Okay.
We're going to run up in our stocking feet, put our boots on, and make sure the boots are up and that factory fold is out of the boots. We're going to scoop down, put our arms through the coat, the turnout coat, and put it over our back. We'll have to button the top 4 buckles, put our helmet on, and we're going to proceed down across the finish line. And when all 5 team members have completed that event, that's when the time ends.
Okay, let's kind of go through it here.
Okay.
This one's got to be comical at times,
Well,
right?
it can be if the boot falls down, but what they'll do is they'll stick their foot in,
Okay.
and with one move, Jerry, pull your boot up and make sure that factory fold is out. My boot fell down as we're doing this already, so that's where the problems arise.
Okay.
The good teams will put...
Factory fold out.
Right, the good teams will actually have, the better teams who like to use baby powder will have powder in their
I
jackets.
just broke this guy's boot.
Well, you got to pull from the outside.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. We'll put our arms in and throw the coat over your back. And you might see baby powder flying, as I say, because that makes your arms slide in the coat a little better. How you doing with that?
I'm doing good, boy. I'd
Now,
be
if you
real
were a competitor, you'd have to have all top 4 buckles buttoned.
Hey, can I help you? If
You can
have
help
your
me.
arm in, can I reach over
We
your
can
head?
help each other, but once we cross the finish line, you can't help me. So anything before the finish line, we will work together, because at a fire, we have to work together.
Okay, then I'm going to grab my hat,
Right?
put my hat on.
And we're going to proceed down to the finish line. And as we're doing, we're going to be buckling.
Okay.
Buckling everything up.
Buckling
And
it
if
up.
we get down here, I'm done, and you're having a little trouble, I'm going to say, Jerry, wait, let's get this last one buckled before you jump across the
Is
line.
somebody going to check our buckles
When
and,
we
and
go
our
across the
folds
line,
and our
we're going to
boots?
be like this.
Okay.
And we're going to stand and we're going to wait for the judges to come and check us. And they will make sure that all the buckles are okay and the helmet's on and the factory fold for the boot is out.
Okay.
And when all 5 members have been checked, then the judges will give the team a time.
Okay.
Well, here we go with the real thing. Our next team in action, the Littleton Explorer Post number 1 of Littleton, Massachusetts. Now, you'd expect these guys to be a bunch of real competitors. They are the number 1 firefighting Explorer Post in America. So we're very proud, naturally, of their team, and, of course, hoping to make a good showing here.
And when you have a tendency to want to hurry to that finish line, I know I would. I'd be running to the finish line, Tom. But foot speed just isn't important here. It's real finger speed, if there is such a thing.
Finger speed and a little help from your friends. Now, these Explorer Posts are where many fire companies look, in fact, to recruit young firefighters. And, of course, they're going to be looking at these excellent young guys in this team here as they await their time. A time of 25.71 for Littleton Explorer Post number 1. As we go to our next team, this is Schodack Landing Fire Department. A little bit longer in the tooth, perhaps, but not lacking in enthusiasm.
Now, there's a lot of things going on here today, and believe it or not, there's probably 10,000 spectators along the sidelines, and the teams are moving from course to course, and every team now, they can have as many players on their team as they want. And of course, they'll pick the best players for each particular event.
Well, Schodack Landing has completed their timing period. The judge is just now checking the equipment to see that everything's in place, and they found something out of order there. No time. Tough break for Schodack Landing. Well, that brings us to our next event as we work our way across the playing field. This is the modified dry hose event. And again, the coordinator and chairman of this competition, Mark French, explains it for us.
This event will, at the start, will proceed from the starting line.
Off
All the
line.
equipment will be laid here. A little bit different than the first event. The equipment is here. 3 lengths of hose, a Y, and 2 nozzles. 5 men up to 9 men, depending on how the team wants to run it. We're gonna experience what connecting the Y actually feels like. We've got 2 nozzle men, and this is our hydrant man who's gonna run and tag. Once you and I couple the hose
Okay.
to the Y, we're going to run out and drag it out onto the course.
And that's pretty heavy, isn't it?
This is heavy, and we're going to get our notches lined up again.
Lined.
How are we doing with the notches?
We didn't do good right there. Yeah, we're doing all right.
Okay, we got this one coupled.
Okay.
Now your job, assist me, will be to tip this back.
Okay.
And here
Golly.
well, you're going to pick it up and make it a little bit harder for us, but that's okay. Most teams will leave it on the ground so that they can keep it still and they can get a good spin on here, Jerry.
Yeah. The boys are already finished out there.
Okay, and then the other team member is going to spin.
Oh,
this
there's
one
three guys doing this.
Yes, right. We'll get it though. We'll get it. Thank goodness this is not competition, because by now they would have pulled this hose right out of our hand and it would be flying. Okay, we got it.
Then we're going to grab this.
We're gonna grab.
Three of us, probably.
Well, one will probably get out of the way. We're going to hold this and stretch it down. We can only go 50 feet because the hose that's connected to the hydrant is only 50 feet long. So this is timing as well, and it's also practice and measurement.
Again, they can have
we're going to drop
6 or 8 members if they want
here. Drop it on the course, and then we're going to sprint.
Yeah, we're running for the finish line, which is the same distance as before. Or?
Well, it's a little bit shorter because it's actually 100 feet of hose. Although it's 3 lengths, we've got it doubled up here off the Y. Drop the nozzles. The nozzle men did it across the nozzle line. Both of them have to be over. And we're going to just keep right on running.
And get across the line. We're finished right there.
Okay, now we're going to see the full speed version of this event right now. This is the Redfield Volunteer Fire Company from Oswego, New York. Now these guys are using 17 members to get the job done here. No limit to the number of team members you can use in this particular event.
Yeah, and I wonder who's got the best uniform today. Isn't that pretty important? When I first showed up at the field, I thought we were having a gigantic softball tournament. A softball tournament with 65 teams, huh?
Yeah. You know, the elements in this event look so easy, so simple, but it's really not that easy when you have to get out there and do it for real.
Oh, you're right about that. Earlier, Mark and I made it look awful easy, but when you get out there with lots of players and hoses and someone on the sideline hollering at you, then one of those lumps begin to form in your throat, I believe. I bet Redfield can relate to that.
I bet they can. A time of 20.23 for Redfield. Next up, the Bout Community Fire Department from Albany, New York. A lot of New York teams here, but there are teams from 14 other states in Canada, Jerry.
Oh, look how fast we got some connections going right here. Tommy, I think this is my team. Whoa, wait a minute. Maybe your team.
A bit of a slip up there for the Bout Community Fire Department, and they finish the time of 17.66. And it's a good time for us to take a short break here, but stick around. Field Day from Hudson, New York. Well, now we're going to find out how many firemen it takes to climb a ladder. Maybe 2 on the ground and 3 to climb to the top? Well, let's find out as Jerry McKinnis and Mark French explain this one for us.
This is the ladder climb contest, and we have 3 men who will actually run and scale the 25-foot ladder to the top of the tower. All start simultaneously when the starter drops his flag. The first runner starts from 50 feet, the second from 75, and the last man is running from 100 feet. They'll run full speed to this ladder and climb to the top.
Probably run faster than they would at a fire.
Definitely. Again, at a fire, they're going to have full turnout gear on, and we don't run full speed like this. But they clamber up ladders pretty fast at a fire scene, yeah. So this is the skill, the ladder climbing skill is the actual skill that we're competing with in this particular event.
Okay, let's get them going. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to serve as a starter, and when I drop my hand, that's when all the runners will begin.
And they're not running full out
no,
right now.
They're taking it easy just for this demonstration. And every man has to touch at least the 4th rung or below as they climb. And when that 3rd man hits that top rung and grass, that's when the time stops.
Time's off.
All right, the first team to get underway here, the Greenport Pumper Company #1 from Columbia County, New York. This event certainly involves the most danger of all of them, and it's not just a sport, it's something these guys would be called upon to do in real life.
Yeah, and this event, just like the others, is a matter of do your job and stay out of your teammates' way. I think you're going to see a good example of that right here. Our #2 man makes a bad bobble. runs into the runner behind him, and we're going to end up with a bad time out of that.
Time of 9.82 for Greenport Pumper. We'll see how that stands up. Here we go with the next team, Speigletown Fire Company from Rensselaer, New York. Those three climbers jumping into action now from their positions 175 and 25 feet away. As you saw, they have two other team members stabilizing that ladder, that wooden 25-footer there. That's an important job, too.
And everybody's having fun. But can't you just imagine going through the same drill now, only fully dressed, pulling a real heavy hose and a fire going on, or someone's life in jeopardy?
Well, it appears that the top man did not touch the top rung, so they were disqualified. No time for that team. Here we go now, the firefighters from East Meadow Fire Department, and these guys have been practicing.
Look out, East Meadow, and these guys have been practicing. They did this in less than 8 seconds last year, and obviously are the defending champs. Well, that was a good run here. I tell you what, I hope I'm sitting right here to watch the team that does a better job than this bunch.
Well, you can see the technique in action here in the slow-mo. They move just like one person. That's what it really takes to rack up a good time in this event. A time of 7.82 for East Meadow. From the ladder climb, we're going to go now to the dry hose event. This is the fourth of our team competitions. It's a bit less complicated than the modified, but it still can get tricky. And again, our competition director, Mark French, walks us through the event.
Mark, when these guys line up back here at the starting line, how many will be on a team?
Well, a team could range from 5 men to 9 men, depending on how many they want to use. Sometimes on these connections, they'll use 2 men. Some other teams will do it 1 man. And maybe I can show you how all this hose gets connected.
And this is the dry hose event.
This is called dry hose. 3 lengths of hose are laid out end to end on the course with a nozzle on the end. And on the beginning, we have our competition hydrant. The teams will run at the start signal. 1 man or one firefighter will come here to the hydrant, connect the hose. Another team member or several team members will proceed down to the different couplings until all 3 lengths are strung together. And the last man's job will be to run and put the nozzle on the end of the hose, pull the hose, stretch the hose to a nozzle line, and at the same time all team members are proceeding down the course, and when they cross the finish line, that's it. Fast event, about 10 seconds.
Oh, man. Well, and this guy only has 1 job, right?
His job is simply to pick up this connection and tag this fire hydrant. That's the nomenclature of the fire service, where they actually connect this to a hydrant. And on every fire hose, there's a notch that shows you where the threads start on the hose. And he knows that this notch means this is where the thread starts. He looks at his hydrant where the thread starts. He'll have his hose in position so that he can pick it up and put it right on the hydrant with a simple 1 turn, and it will be here.
Just to make sure that it doesn't come off and make sure it's not cross-threaded, right?
It can't be cross-threaded. The judges will come back and shake it. And, of course, if we're in a real firefighting situation, this man who's tagging the hydrant would make sure that this was tight so we don't have water spraying all over the place. For the competition, though, we only want a good spin so that when judges shake, it doesn't come off.
Okay, and while he's doing that, 2 more down at this end, right?
2 more, or in some cases, just maybe one member will run up to the next connection, and their job will be to put the 2 hoses together.
And this really happens in a fire situation, doesn't it?
That's right, Jerry. These are skills that at every fire situation, they have to couple hose, they have to stretch hose. So this whole event really involves basic firefighting skills.
I can see where this would be a good 2-man job right here. I mean, for speed,
right?
One guy to hold it.
Right, and again, we're going to look for notches because that's where threads start, and they'll have their hose in position so that they can line their notches up. And a simple spin, Jerry, this is supposed to be simple. A simple spin like that, we'll have the hose connected good enough so that when it's shaken by the judges after the event, it won't come apart.
Has this guy probably already run past these 2? Or?
Usually the fastest man on the team, because he's got to be fast to couple to the hydrant so that when the other guys are connecting the hose, they're not going to pull it off the hydrant. Then he has to sprint and beat all of the other people across the finish line. So you'll see probably this man will come around the course wide, and he'll run down to the edge of the course so he's not getting in people's way.
Of course, you got a nozzle right here, and the nozzle will go on the end, but But again, it's a simple deal of getting it on correctly.
Right. This is a competition nozzle. Of course, we don't use nozzles like this any longer to actually fight fires. You'll see shut-off valves and ways to control the water flow. Simple, but we use this for competitions only. And again, we look for the place where the thread starts inside the nozzle. We look for the notch on the hose, which is, I felt it's right there. And the team will have, again, this nozzle will be in position, so when they pick it up, they know they've got it in the right position, so that when they, Jerry, you gotta hold that hose. Sometimes if you hold it up here, maybe it won't wiggle so much. How we doing here? The clock's still running? All right, you want us to do this again? Let's find the thread here.
The Keystone Fireman, huh?
Well, no Keystone Firemen in action here. These are the members of the Catskill Hose Company #1 from Catskill, New York, one of the favorite teams here today. They're showing us why. 3 links of hose, quickly attached. Again, these are skills needed every day by these fellows, so it's really much more than a sport.
Boy, what a great setting we have. We're right in the front lawn of the volunteer fireman's home. That size of football field, thousands of spectators, and hey, these Catskill boys are the big boys. They've won 3 out of the last 5 in-state titles. Tommy, what more can I say about them?
A really good run for those boys. 15.15 for Catskill Hose #1. And here's the auxiliary company for Catskill Hose #1. Great tradition of highly rated firefighting teams in the Catskills area.
Well, all teams can bring auxiliary groups. They're going to compete in a category all of their own now. And I mentioned that the Catskill main team had won 3 out of the last 5 in-state titles. Well, their auxiliary team says big deal. They've won 4 out of the last 5.
19.05 for Catskill Hose #1 auxiliary. And once again, here are the young men from the Littleton Explorer Post #1, the firefighting Explorer Post #1 in the nation. There's nothing like youthful enthusiasm, and I talked to these fellows. They really are proud of their group's accomplishments. They're hoping to make a big splash here today.
Now, normally there's a bit of a rest in between these events, but then on the other hand, some of the teams have to move quickly to the next course. Some of them are already huffing and puffing.
Absolutely. This is going to be good. These are the Littleton, Massachusetts Fire Company team members, the mentors and advisors for the Explorer Post, if you will. So we'll see if the students can prevail against the teachers or vice versa.
Oh, you don't imagine there's some competition there, do you?
Might be a little bit.
Well, I'd have hated to jump out and try to tackle that last guy.
Here's a big one, a time of 17.15 for the Littleton Mass Fire Company, just edging their younger counterparts there. You know, this event is only 6 years old, but the history of competition between volunteer firefighters goes back as far as the history of firefighting in the United States. This is the Vischer Ferry team.
Oh, and we've got a problem right here. The man in the middle is having a connection problem, and boy, he knows everyone is staring at him right now.
A little trouble with cross-threading there, but they do manage to finish at a time of 24.01. Well, we've gotten a taste of all 4 of the main events here at the Firefighters Field Day, and there's lots more competition to come.
In Hudson, New York. That's almost a tongue twister, isn't it? Let me ask you something. Who was the gentleman that originated the first volunteer fire department? Ben Franklin, back in 1736. And in those days, in order to belong, you had to bring 6 buckets along with you. George Washington was also a volunteer fireman. Matter of fact, in Alexandria, Virginia, where he helped that company buy the first steam engine about 1785. Lots of history associated with volunteer firemen. Wait till you see the museum coming up. And I'm going to let old Tommy 3-Alarm Sanders take you through it right now.
Oh, 3-Alarm, huh? I guess I've been promoted. Well, Jerry, you're absolutely right. The American Museum of Firefighting History is an incredible place, one you have to see to believe. It's universally regarded as the finest collection of American firefighting memorabilia and apparatus anywhere, and it really is like a walk through history.
According to the Smithsonian Institution, this is the largest collection of firefighting equipment and memorabilia anywhere. 20,000 square feet that take in over 200 years of firefighting history. You can marvel at how well preserved the old leather buckets and the buggy wheels are.
Or you can contemplate just how little the basic fireman's helmet design has changed in the past 100 years. What it is a chance to see how each era in history has taken its basic engineering and design technologies and adapted them to firefighting. Some designs certainly turned out more successfully than others. And some of the equipment here is strictly for show, more fire department public relations than actual workaday equipment. The museum now has painstakingly sought to restore and preserve each of these pieces. Although many of them were in top shape when they were either donated or acquired, fire companies have a reputation for maintaining their tools. Many of the old fire engines are examples of skills and crafts that have long since disappeared in this country. At times, you feel more that you're in a fine arts museum than in a collection of firefighting equipment. But as the museum curators will tell you, most of these pieces still work, although they answered their last fire call 50, 100, even 150 years ago. More than once, you'll find yourself thinking, they don't make them like that anymore. As you pass by these exhibits, it's hard to forget that all this machinery, every bucket, every hat, every boot, was designed for one purpose: to save a life. And you think about the people and the dedication that stands behind each piece, and you start to get a feeling for how important the firefighter's job has been to the history of this country. The Museum of American Firefighting in Hudson, New York. Open daily, the admission's free. A really enjoyable way to get a history lesson. Well, now we're going to get to see history in action here. This is the hand engine pumping contest. These machines may be old, but as you can see, they can still put out an impressive volume of water. Some of these machines date back into the 1700s, and they're here competing today, and the competition is fierce. You can see it on the faces of these competitors. A lot of effort going into this. This guy here, he looks especially intense. Now, these engines are brought in from all over, and much of this pumping work is done by volunteers from the audience in attendance here. I'm going to go see if I can corner one of those volunteers right now. Jerry, you got your shirt tail out and everything. You act like that was strenuous or something.
Well, I've been doing this quite a bit, Tommy, and that was probably one of my better go-rounds right there. Where were you in the air-conditioned trailer back there?
No. I was on the other side pumping. Didn't you see me?
Yeah, I see. Hey, those guys work serious about that.
They are. Now, can you grab that thing if it flies out of your hand?
I couldn't let go.
No.
I actually quit 3 minutes before I was supposed to. I just couldn't let go of it. I just kept on going.
Mark French says, don't try to grab it if it comes out of your hand. He says you lose a finger that way. So, a word to the wise here.
Thank you. Now you tell me.
Well, get back on there, man. We're going to let you go one more time here. This hand engine pumping competition is really a big crowd favorite, and there is a lot to it. The engines are divided into different categories based on mostly the size of the cylinder used in the pump. So the ranges of these streams of water can vary from 80 feet to almost 250 feet. What they're trying to do here is to get that stream of water to go as far as possible down the target line. And the line is actually consisting of a long piece of butcher paper. That's so they can get an exact measurement of the farthest drop.
Okay, big ovation for the Falcon Pumpers from Southborough, Mass., my favorite team. Really, the captain of one of these pumping teams has to not only fire his team up, but he has to start one. As you said a little bit earlier, the captains will go into the audience and drum up volunteers, and we've probably got 17 or 18 on this particular pump, and incidentally, I'm not one of them. We've got pumps here today that date back all the way to 1795, and that's hard to believe. It's also hard to imagine now that this is how they used to fight fires every day. And of course, a bucket brigade would furnish the water. Good job by the Falcons.
Dave, tell us about your machines that we just saw in action here.
The one we just pumped was the Falcon. It's an 1868 Hunneman hand pump. It's got 4-inch cylinders, a Class C.
All right, you set a new event record, is that right, or tied
I think
one?
we tied it. 162.6, yep. We did that in 88 out here, and I think we just matched it.
Okay, Bill, tell us, what was your strategy? You were starting and stopping and watching the wind. What was happening there?
Well, if you watch the flags up behind you and you watch the flags down on paper, you can get a way the wind's gusting and swirling, and you try to get a little pressure in the tub, and then when the wind's going down the paper, you give it to the nozzle man, and he takes it from there.
Uh-oh, here comes the girls. They're towing the cutest little single piston pump that you've ever seen. And Tommy, I know you've seen a lot of cute single piston pumps.
Well, none springs to mind right offhand, but maybe so, Jerry.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't like the pump, check out the head on a nozzle, ladies. A noisy nozzle at that, isn't it?
Well, stylish, if nothing else. What we're looking at here are some of the competition in the small engine class. This is the Bethel Fire Department from Bethel, Connecticut, and today they're using their 1905 Deming. So many factors involved here. Priming the machine, that's the slow pumping, and then getting the pressure up with the fast pumping, and of course you have to gauge the endurance of your folks who are doing the pumping. Believe it or not, wind speed and direction are crucial to the nozzle person's calculations of just when to open up and let that stream go for the time period.
Speaking of direction, let's get on course here.
Well, the wind is supposed to be downrange today, and that should be a real help to these teams. A couple of records already been broken, and there's some expectation of some more record-breaking performances before this thing's all over. We'll just have to wait and see. And all in all, the folks from Bethel should be proud. That was a really nice effort.
Hey, that was a great job you girls just pulled off.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your machine.
It's a single piston pump that we picked up in somebody's basement, and we've been competing with this for about a year. Last year we went to the league championships with it with 58 feet, and Joe reworked it for us this winter, and we pumped 82, so we're really excited.
The competition's just starting to heat up here at the Firefighters Field Day, so stay with us. Great American Events fans, the Firefighters Field Day, Hudson, New York. I'm Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McKinnis, and you are watching the Hamlin Fire Department from Hamlin, New York, participate in the ladder climb event.
And I've already said this too many times, but I'll say it one more time. This is a team event. You have to take care of your job and make sure that you don't get in the way of your partner. Now, our second man up has a real bobble right here, and it's unfortunate because I know he's trying so hard, but it probably cost the Hamlin team about a second, and, well, I bet they still got a good score.
What kind of run did you think you had, guys?
We had a halfway decent run.
Yeah?
We could have done better.
Do you have a time yet?
We got 10.71.
Well, is that going to be good enough to do it?
Yeah, we'll probably place.
Okay, well, tell me how you guys train for this thing.
Oh, we practice once, twice a week. Running a ladder, we run 100-yard dashes and stuff like that, getting ready to come down here and compete. It's all for fun, though.
Yeah. Has everyone fallen once?
Yeah, oh yeah. I seen my shins about 2 weeks ago.
Okay, well, good luck, guys. We'll let you get on to the next event.
Say, you know, really, the folks that have it made today are the spectators. Well, you come into the field and you're able to roam up and down the sidelines of each course and see everything that's going on, and a lot of stuff is going on. The secret there, though, Tommy, is don't go down by that pumping area or suddenly you'll be a volunteer and you'll be wore out.
That's right. You'll either be a competitor or you'll get wet. It sure is a treat for the fans here, and that's the St. James Fire Department from Suffolk County, just finishing their run at the modified dry hose. Not all these guys are athletically built, but boy, they all put out a lot of effort.
Oh, the problems these connectors can have. That Y connector that the number 59 is having problems with right there probably weighs 25 pounds.
Working hard on that. A time of 20.96 for St. James from Suffolk County. Coming up on the dressing event now, this is the Fairview Fire Department from Dutchess County, New York. Guys and gals competing on this team. Looking real good here at this point.
Oh, but I'm always disappointed when they don't use the talcum powder. I like to see a big burst of powder as the coat comes over your shoulder.
Well, of course, that talcum powder used to sort of lubricate things and make all the garments slip on a little easier. Some folks, I guess, don't think they have to use it.
Did you see that tiptoe finish?
Very, very impressive. The Fairview Fire Department with a time of 20.37. This is the Bethel Fire Department from Bethel, Connecticut.
and the dry hose run. Not quite as complicated as the modified, as we said before, but a lot of places that can trip a team up.
And the first man has tagged the hydrant, and Tommy, I threw that in where you'd think that I was really getting down on this
You've got the
fireman's
nomenclature.
logo.
And they're finishing their run there. A good one for the Bethel Fire Department, but some controversy.
If that's okay with you, what we'll do is on that one particular coupling there, we'll be lenient on the cross thread. We'll let the two teams that got disqualified run again, and that way everybody's been equal for the whole day. If you don't have a problem with that, I don't have a problem.
No, we're going to need to get the two team captains here so
I
we
can get there.
I'll know why we're doing it.
I'll take care of that.
Okay.
I'll find Vidoy someplace else.
We're going to run with the same hose. Everybody's going to run with the same hose.
It'll be the same as it was, because what's been good for one has been good for the other.
Just your fault, Dave. Whatever you want to do. Okay. We'll rerun them that way.
It'll make it a hell of a lot easier.
Okay, great. Thanks. Quite a little problem with a cross-threaded hose. As a result of cross-threading, the brass on on the coupling, the connection is a little burred, and the teams have pointed that out. So what we're going to do is we're not going to change the hose, but we're going to let the two teams that were disqualified because as a result of the burr, the hose was cross-threaded. We're going to let them run again, and if now in the future, if there are any cross threads at that one particular coupling, we're going to let that be okay. We're not going to disqualify anybody for cross threads as a result of the bird.
A controversy here and there, but these teams aren't dogging it. They're going to stay after it till we have a winner here in the Firefighters Field Day from Hudson, New York. There are firefighters in the USA, 120,000 of them right here in the state of New York, and 5 that we know of with the Catskill Hose Company #1 are ready for the ladder climbing event.
I'll say they're ready. That number 1 man started about 5 seconds too early. Got back across the line, though. Hey, this is a good team.
They're the favorite.
Everything this orange and blue team does seems to, well, it really seems to be in sync. You can tell that they've done lots and lots of practicing. Yes, they are the defending champions, so I guess they better be in sync. Every event, they're right up near the top.
Okay, Jerry, we got the defending champs here from Catskill, New York. What kind of run did you have, guys?
I think he said it was a 9:20.
9:20.
We're happy with that. We'll take it. Is that a good time?
Good time. Okay, you think that's what it's going to take to win it?
No, there's guys that are pretty much quicker than that, but we've been practicing for a while. We've been running right around 9:5 the whole time, so we're really pleased with this.
We don't need to win it. We just want a clean run, no mistakes, and we figure if we can place in the top 10 in all the events, we'll be right up there.
Okay, is this your strongest event here?
No, the dressing's our strongest event.
Well, good luck, guys, from Catskill. All right.
Well, I'm going to look forward to seeing their dressing then, because they're a tough unit. We're over at the modified dry hose now, and team number 8 from Plainfield is ready to compete. Going to use 7 competitors, and normally a 16, 18-second time kind of gets you in the money, so to speak.
You're going to have a little trouble here getting in the money today. Having some trouble at the Y, as a matter of fact. That's
The
place
dreaded Y.
Oh, where so many teams lose it right there. It's heavy, it's hard to thread, and it just takes a lot of concentration and a little bit of luck.
If I was on one of these teams, Tommy, I think I'd stay away from that Y.
A tough one for the Plainfield bunch. They're going to wind up with a time of 36.82.
Ooh, look who's coming up now.
Those colors again, the Catskill Hose Company #1.
Dreaded blue and gold.
By their own admission. Now, this is their best event. This
Well,
is
we're
dressing.
going to see, man. They went way out on the limb for us, didn't they?
But they're really taking a lot of care with that preparation here.
They are. They think they're good, I'll tell you that.
Competition to see how quickly a team can respond to a fire goes back a long time before these events actually started taking place. Back in the early days of American firefighting, the competition was really fierce because in those days the insurance companies only paid the first company to arrive and put what they call first water on the fire. So it was really important back then.
Well, Catskill has not let us down. Man, what a team. Oh, Isn't that great to see that kind of enthusiasm over a simple dressing routine?
Oh, they're the bad boys of dressing, the Catskill team.
Hey, I've seen several dressers, and these were by far the slickest. They were prepared right down to the great baby powder explosion.
Okay, we're with Bob and Tom June of Catskill #1, last year's champs. They're looking good based on their performance just in the dressing event. That was a good one.
We think so. We had to do good in this event. You know, we hold the record in this event, so people expect us to do well.
What's the record?
That's a new record.
We just set a new record.
You set a new record, 11-3. Congratulations, guys. Okay, how's everything else going so
We're
far?
doing good. We're in the running this year.
You think you're going to repeat?
We got a good shot. That's all we can say.
That's a competition. And
Here's
it
our
looks good.
captain right here.
Okay, who's the... Oh, there he is
Hold
again, Joe
everything
Dees.
together right here.
All right, Joe Dees, what do you think about these guys of yours that just set a world record? All right.
Great. That's right. Took a second off the other one. I like it.
Yeah, I guess he did like it. Even Gumby liked it. Oh, I'm telling you what, that Tommy Sanders has some strange friends. This is the Middle Hope Fire Company from Orange, New York, competing in the dry hose event at this time, and a little speed and teamwork, and please don't cross-thread the connection. That's all it takes.
Hey, from Hudson, New York. Tommy Sanders here along with Jerry McKinnis. This is the Greenport Comfort Team in Columbia, New York, getting ready for their run at the modified dry hose.
You know, we haven't really talked a whole lot about the fact that these guys want to win the overall championship. We kind of zero in on the different events, but in order to be the big champ, you have to compete well in all 4 events: the dry hose, the modified dry hose, the dressing, and the ladder climb.
Well, a time of 17.78 for the Greenport team. Now we're going to see a team we haven't seen yet. This is the Forestville, Maryland team. Come a long way to do well in this competition. They're always a favorite. They've done well here in the past. Now they're going to try the ladder climbing event.
And you know, we make the mistake of just assuming that these are 3-man teams. The ladder team is a 5-man team. Those 2 guys at the bottom of the ladder are very important. And we also talk so much about speed. And I saw something right here that, well, the number 3 man with so much speed ran over the number 2 man. So there was a instance where the speed kind of backfired, didn't it?
Didn't pay off for him that time. Probably lost a second or so. They came out with a time of 10.48 for the ladder climbing event. Here again, our friends from the Redfield team, Oswego, New York, their turn at the dry hose.
And we watch these folks compete, and they're obviously having a great time, but you really have to remember that these are tough volunteer firemen, important people in most of our lives. As a matter of fact, they cover 80% of the United States, and of course career firemen cover the rest, so we really owe them this day.
This day is all about the volunteer fireman and everything that he represents. A time of 16.57 for Redfield. Now, who of us as a youngster hasn't dreamed of growing up to be a fireman? The excitement, the adventure, the idea of being a hero. Well, a few of them stick with the dream and make it all the way, and that's what this day is all about.
Now, the headquarters, or the real cornerstone of the premises here, is obviously the retirement home. The New York State Volunteer Firemen's Retirement Home and Hospital. And boy, here's some great news. In 2 years from now, they're going to celebrate their 100th year anniversary. Boy, that is really great. In those 100 years, over 2,200 volunteer firemen have lived here. As a matter of fact, 115 folks are living there at this time. And this is a very unique place. Kind of started back there 100 years ago, kind of on a shoestring, and to this date has never used any tax money to operate. Yeah, 115 volunteer firemen living there, and representing a group of folks that you most likely will never meet unless you really need them.
It's in your own personal feeling about other people, helping other people. That's volunteering. And I volunteer for everything.